Hello, hello, hello. Let's do a microphone test here. Let me know if you can hear me okay. And yeah, we've got quite a few streams going right now. We've got the YouTube, the X stream, and Twitch going. If you are in the X or Twitch streams, I cannot actually see the chat. So if you have any questions or comments, I will not be able to see you there. But if you are in the YouTube live stream, I will be able to see you there. So you're more than welcome to come over and join us in the YouTube live stream. Otherwise, you can @ me on X, formerly Twitter, and I can always answer any questions or respond to any comments there. So let me know if you can hear me okay, and then we're going to get rolling. All right, so it appears everything sounds all good. Let's go ahead and get the music under control and get rolling. You will have to bear with me again today. I'm still a little under the weather. My apologies. So, all right, let's roll. Hello and welcome to Landy's Crypto Corner. Today is March 6th, 2024, and we are staring at charts. This is Market Madness Wednesdays. Thank you for hanging out with me. Bitcoin did make an all-time high yesterday. As you can see here on the chart, Bitcoin did wick above the prior all-time high at $69,000 even here on Coinbase spot price. It did come in at around 69,324.58. So there's your new all-time high. Bitcoin did go on an all-time high run after breaking the monthly closing all-time high zone. So that is what we were expecting. We also got a nice dump in the lower term timeframes right back into that zone. Bitcoin closed above the upper first standard deviation of the Bollinger Bands here on the daily, and then is now right back in the all-time high zone. You can see that the upper second standard deviation is now at the previous all-time high now at $69,000. That is going to take me a little time to remember now, as we've been eyeing this for quite a long time. But you know, if Bitcoin is trading above the upper first standard deviation, I would expect, you know, the current and previous all-time highs to get ran and higher. You can see that the upper third standard deviation is up there at $74,730, so almost $75,000. That does line up with some areas of interest to the upside that we have previously talked about. Now let's talk about a few other scenarios, and that is that Bitcoin, let's say it does not get above the upper second and go for somewhere in the mid to low 70s, which we can refine here shortly, but if it does drop the upper first standard deviation, I would treat this like a zone. So the upper first standard deviation is at 62,890, so almost 62.9, likely to rise to the open of today's candle after close if Bitcoin closes anywhere above the upper first. So that condition is basically a close above 62.9. We're likely to see the upper first rise to around the close open, maybe even higher, somewhere in between the close open and this prior all-time high, prior to the $69,000 all-time high. We've got that zone at 65 to 69. We could see the upper first around there. So I would treat that as the top side of the zone, the zone of interest, I should say, to the October of 2021 monthly closing candle. So that's coming in at that 61,350 that we talked so much about. Now, I do expect the basis, provided Bitcoin closes anywhere above the upper first, to start really getting into this area here. Right now, it's right around the close open from the 27th into 28th of February. It's coming in at 56,965, so 57K. If Bitcoin were to drop the upper first, I would treat this monthly closing high zone as a liquid zone. So your 61,350 to 58.8, and then below there, wherever the basis band comes in to this close open. So being very specific, if we did see in even medium-term timeframes below the daily, you know, your 4 and 6 hour, even your hourly, I would be looking to the daily basis band somewhere around $57,000 to that 58.8 as another zone. Now, if the basis does rise more aggressively coming into close, which I'm not really expecting, I'm expecting, you know, unless Bitcoin closes above the upper second today, I would expect it to still remain, you know, at or below the 58.8 level. Now, if any of that area is lost, I would be looking for price to run right back to the previous weekly swing high that was holding price down. This is the swing high from September of 2021 into that weekly zone around the daily lower first. And that, you know, that's where we saw the consolidation prior to the all-time high run. And, you know, for those of you that were here when I talked about this, I had mentioned above $53,000, there's really not much resistance. It's probably going to end up being an all-time high run. That's what we've seen so far. And a pullback from here, is not anything crazy. We see it all the time, in traditional markets when it gets around its all-time highs for individual assets and indices. But also, Bitcoin has done this a few times on the daily as well around its previous all-time highs. So dump out to retest support, and that's major historical support and resistance zones, not uncharacteristic of Bitcoin at all. And, let's just go ahead and admire the beautiful chart here on the daily and how Bitcoin has played with within the context of historical support and resistance. Now, that the reason why we're going to take some time to admire this is because after Bitcoin breaks the all-time high, it's in a blue sky breakout. So we don't have references for higher time frame or even lower time frame support and resistance until we start to see structure form at minimum on the daily. Can things be, front run and stuff like that? Sure. If you're dangerous, if you like to live on the edge, sure. But more importantly, we're going to take our final gander at the beautiful structure that we have going on here, from the tap on $35,000, which was a monthly closing low from the bull markets, a prior cycle bull market, to that 38,500, just on the daily, just, resistance, flip to support, find the next resistance, move up to the next resistance, in this case, to the $45,500 to $47,000 monthly closes, and then a direct tap on the monthly at 38.5. Just beautiful. Recover the monthly here. Recover the monthly zone. Move up to those big weeklies that we saw from December into August of 2021. Those were weekly closes that were very, very important, at 50,800 to 51,800. And remember, we had these areas marked before price got there. So we're not just looking back historically. These have been marked on our charts for a long time, and they're going to go away. All of our references are going to go away. So take the time to appreciate it. That $53,000 weekly swing high. Now remember, this was the swing high prior to the actual all-time high. So this was the weekly swing high that came in prior to the all-time high. There was a big dump off after that to retest the bull market reaccumulation at the lows there. And then it was on to new all-time highs. This was basically after this $53,000 level, we got the retest after Bitcoin hit the spring during its daily Wyckoff reaccumulation off of the March time frame. Or it was the April. March-April time frame when it dumped off from there. That was the first all-time high, and then it came down to retest that spring, and then the top side after it hit the spring, I should say, and then up and away to $69,000, and here we are again. So I do encourage you to enjoy the relative calmness in the markets right now, and I mean from the psychological standpoint. So for those of you that maybe this is your first bear market to bull market cycle, you might have been excited since 2023 when we called the low, we got all the moves on the way up, and once it really started to break above the $25,000 level, and then head up towards the 30K level, and then retest 24.9, 24.7. and turn around, that's when we knew. We called it like, hey, this is the bull run. Yes, we're not just coming off the lows. This is the bull run. That was really the start of the bull market once it broke around 31.8. And that was a big level that some of you might remember. Seems like it was a long time ago now. It really wasn't. But we've been in a bull market for a long time. But you're not going to hear it phrased that way until we break the all-time high. And it's going to be very difficult, as I talked about in the last stream, for many, even if you've been in markets for a long time. It's very difficult to contain excitement when you do see the blue sky breakouts. So we're going to dig into that a little bit more. Let's do a little bit more TA on the daily here. We can see that I've got some fancy indicators up here. This is a paid indicator. You don't necessarily need this. This one is from app.crowntrading.net. This is the advanced Stoke over there. I don't get paid by them. I don't have any affiliation with them other than being a huge fan of the devs over there. In particular, for those of you that know BBWP, from my indicators, from my indicator, I should say, you'll know that that this why am I blanking on his name? This is why I told you I'm not feeling too great today. CT the caretaker. Jeez. And I know him well from asking him questions and him helping me integrate BBWP into the Landy bands. But anyway, so we reviewed basically the volatility levels, and now let's go ahead and look at volatility, and we'll look at momentum. So volatility is, very, very extreme right now in the dailies. That's not unexpected in the start of a parabolic move. Volatility increases and it remains high because it's starting to really tick up on the higher term time frames, which we'll look at in a moment. But we've got overbought regular Stoke. Again, this is a regular Stoke, not a Stoke RSI. So this is measuring close over close price action, not the velocity of RSI. In this case, it is pivoted at 66,441. And it can hang out up in the overbought zone for an extremely long amount of time. It can even fall out, bullishly reset, and come back. Yes, you can play divergences at a regular Stoke. I'd be very, very careful in a frothy market like this, though. In this case, we're more likely than not to see bullish resets of this. That's not a guarantee, but just be aware of that. And in this case, if Bitcoin closes here or higher today, it's going to cross that back up anyway. And we see the biggest moves on price action when we see an oscillator that measures close over close price action like Stoke in the overbought and or oversold zones. That's where we see the bigger moves. We are in a trending move. We are in an expansive posture on the daily here for Bollinger Bands. It's all pointed up. So it's not really going to cool down until we see, we see Bitcoin closing specifically, not wicking, closing below the upper first and starting to close in and around the basis band. That's when we'll see volatility cool down for a little bit. That's when you're likely to see Stoke start to really dive, stuff like that, wherever it occurs, here or higher, doesn't really matter. But that's where you're going to start seeing everything kind of go into a cool down phase. And then it's probably, a good time to evaluate where things are and wait for the next very volatile move and trade that one in the best way. Obviously, in bull markets, the green button is preferred by most. There probably will be opportunities to hedge, but I would still be very, very careful. Just like when we were in the depths of the bear market, we were all short, right? Everybody here that I know was short in the market, making tons of money, soaking up all the depression, and also, even though we were making money, becoming a little depressed because it's infectious. But you could still long in that market, but you had to be quick in and out of those trades. So let's go ahead and continue on to some higher term time frame stuff. We're going to go check the 2-day here. We can see that the 2-day is going to be closing with today's candle as well. And this will have a chance to continue to close above the upper second standard deviation. And if it can close above, let's see, that's going to be 67,000. I'm going to call it 67.1 because if price does trade back up, this is going to oscillate around a little bit, this upper second. So that is the, you see the green there is the all-time high on the bar, on the price bar over here. And the more teal color is the upper second. So I'm going to call it 67,100 here or higher today. Bitcoin will get its close above the upper second. That will lead to more extreme expansion to the upside of the Bollinger Bands themselves. That's not price action, but Bollinger Bands. Price could continue up to the upper third, which is coming in at 74,200. Again, I have a range roughly around 70 to 75 right now. We're going to pinpoint that there is some areas of interest around the 72 range to 73 range or so. I do admire this this beautiful spike back to tap directly on the 2-day upper first standard deviation by the monthly there. What a beauty. Speaking of which, upper first, let's see, that's coming in at 59,247. That low came in at 59,224. So if you're doubting the validity of volatility and measuring volatility and having it as charted as support and resistance for volatility zones of interest or areas of interest, just observe how price interacts with the bands. So, I mean, the volatility price levels of the bands are going to get a lot of the moves as you start going through the time frames, and you'll get a feel for where everything kind of falls, and it's usually going to have confluence with your support and resistance zones. In this case, the upper first is likely going to move up to somewhere around the 61,350, 61.5 area, maybe even slightly above it. Basis is currently at that weekly right around the breakout. I would like to see this above 53, but it's probably going to end up around 53K after today's closure. And then we come back to it. We're still in an expansive phase on the bands and on price volatility. So BBWP being the volatility metric for price action within the context of the Bollinger Band. So highly volatile still. Big moves can happen. They can turn into wicks. That is going to probably... it's getting there. You can see it blinking on and off. That's not me doing that. So volatility is getting into the red zone, but still above the moving average, preserving the, in this case, as long as Bitcoin is above the upper first, especially preserving upside potential. The 2-day Stoke is pointed up on any close today above 66,100. Looking good there. We've got a 3-day close coming in as well. This is still expanding. What I really love about this is this was just the most beautiful setup. Expansion of the upper second standard above the upper first and second into the second standard deviation of the Bollinger Bands. Around support and resistance, comes back, retests. That was also the lower second standard deviation on the 3-day. Beautiful compression. We talked a lot about this at the time. Excuse me. And, test at the monthly on the 3-day, regain it, and then move up to the weekly on expansion. This is still expanding aggressively. 96 over 90. It's getting up there, but volatility likes to stay high in markets like this, especially around the all-time high, especially after breaks. You can see volatility just kind of pin it to the top and just keep, kind of oscillating around the top side here. This is telling me this move is not over from the 3-day perspective, so even timeframes under the 3-day could get very volatile, likely unless something major breaks down to the downside in terms of supports. We're likely to see this continue upwards and onwards. We have a momentum pivot on the regular Stoke. Again, for those of you just joining, this is not a Stoke RSI. This is measuring measuring close over close price action, or price momentum, I should say. 67,560 would keep this turn to the upside. Likely going to see a bullish reset on that as long as Bitcoin is trading and closing above the upper first standard deviation at 56,200 to 56,250 right now from the 3-day chart. Anywhere above this monthly here at 58.8, I'm looking up and to the right. Dips back in there, likely offer up opportunity, not financial advice. Do your own research, all that good stuff. Evaluate the trade if it were to occur. Evaluate what price is looking like if it gets there. That's all. Now, if Bitcoin for any reason were to break down from there, Then again, we're looking back at those weeklies: September 2021, August 21, December 21. So 53 to around 50,000, I would actually give it, because the basis is likely going to update and be somewhere around, the upper 49s to $50,000. In this case, the basis is at 48,500. So that is coming in right here at this high, just about. I would, I'd like to see it above there. It's going to get above there. Excuse me. Man, this cold is just hanging on. I'm going to mute for just a second, get this cough out, and then I'll come right back to this. All right, sorry about that. All right, yeah, anyway, as I was saying, as long as it is holding above the upper first. Apparently I wasn't done. All right, let's take a break for a second. All right. I think that is out of my system now. My apologies. Got quite a few people that just showed up as well. Right as I'm having a coughing fit. It's always that way. It seems at the end of a cold with me. My apologies. All right, so where were we? 3-day. We've got that upper first at around that 56, 200, 250 area. I would expect that to rise up as long as Bitcoin closes anywhere here or higher, and especially above the upper second. I would expect to find it somewhere around the March 2021 monthly close. So, we talked about, BBWP being high, as well as Stoke being in the overbought. Doesn't matter. These things can stick to the top side for extended periods of time. Let's move on to the 4-day. 4-day is looking very, very good as well. Yes, things are in extremes. That always happens in bull markets and bear markets. And in this case, any closures above the upper second standard deviation, this compression to re-expansion is going to continue. BBWP is telling us this move is ongoing and likely to continue. So 98 over 78, still looking very good. Upper second standard deviation on the 4-day is coming in at the April 2021 monthly swing high, the first real big all-time high swing that we saw after 2017. And, the upper third is coming in here at that 72 to 73. So again, everything to the upside, and things could go higher. We're going to look at a fib here in a moment rather. But, above 75, I do think Bitcoin's going to run to 80 pretty quickly, but, mid to low 70s, we might see a pause. So I would, keep an eye on it. close over close. Now, as long as Bitcoin is trading and closing candles on the 4-day and even daily in this regard, above the 4-day upper second, this is looking up and to the right again. If it loses it, back into the monthly zone, that liquid zone at 61,350 to 58.8, and the upper first, if that area was lost, is coming in around some interesting areas, $56,000 to $57,000. So keep an eye on that. The next piece that I want to see for the 4-day is the basis get above the prior consolidation lows prior to the move up to the new all-time high there. 5-day, excuse me, 5-day still expanding. This just opened above the upper second. We can see that on the 5-day chart, currently the upper first is at the mid $50,000 region, coming in at 55,350, 340 area. Again, if Bitcoin's trading and closing candles on the 5-day or daily even above the 5-day upper second, so both apply in this case, and that is coming in at 63,115. It's up and to the right. Again, upper third is here at the 70. So for those of you that have been here since the beginning of the stream, I have basically been pretty clear about saying I'm looking for 70 to 75. You can take the middle ground, 70 to 500, as being the big zone of interest above the all-time highs. And that's where I'd be looking for and evaluating that medium-term price action below the daily, so the 12-hour, 6-hour, 4-hour, and under, and how those all fit in together. And we will look at some lower-term time frame stuff here in just a moment, but basically 70 to 75 initially. If Bitcoin does break above 75, I'd be looking to around 80 pretty quickly, I might add. So even if it did get there, you want to see closes above 75 in order to do it. If you start seeing wicks up into like above or into the deep 70s, I would be careful. All right. So, I mean, you're going to prefer the long button anyway. Not financial advice in markets like these, more biased towards that button. Just don't get in at the top of a particular move. Give it a chance, much like what we saw yesterday. Give it a chance to do its thing. Come back to it when it hits areas of interest to the downside. And I'll show you how to do that once we get into blue sky territory as well. But right now we're not. So until we see blue skies, we're going to be focused on the higher time frame supports. And likely even when Bitcoin does get above here, we will keep those as reference as well. And then we're going to start switching to lower term time frame support and resistance. And in this case, the upper first on the 5-day, well above the prior consolidation. Beautiful. Basis is above the prior monthlies before the all-time high monthly zone. So that August of 2022 and March of 2022 monthly close area at 47 and 45.5 respectively. It's very bullish. The 5-day is still getting expansion. So this move is not, this move's got some legs from the longer term time frame perspective. So those that are going to fade it hard around the all-time high or maybe even higher in the hopes of a swing in some sort of a triple top formation, which I keep seeing all over crypto bear Twitter or X, and even crypto YouTubers that are, I don't know if they're doing that because they really believe it or if it's some kind of engagement farming, because it's kind of outrageous to be looking at things that way, given the higher term time frame outlook. But you know what? Maybe they're all right and I've been wrong this entire time and I should have bought it 12K, right? Right? Where's my 12K crew, huh? Where are they now? Oh, they're still looking for 12K, right? I'll see you there, I guess. $67,000 is going to keep that turn to the upside on Stoke. Expansion of BBWP looks beautiful. Weekly. We'll of course cover this more on Friday in terms of the weekly, but we have confluences all over the band volatility levels. So upper second standard deviation is at 61,350 or so. It's actually at 61, but it's basically right up against the October, the closing monthly all-time high. It's right there. We've got the weekly upper first getting right there into the zone at 53. This is beautiful. This is what you want to see. So I do expect up and to the right to remain, even if Bitcoin were to have some pretty gnarly dump offs in between, inside of the weekly candle, meaning timeframes below the weekly. In this case, as long as it's trading above 53, which I would like to see retested just because I'm greedy. But in any case, as long as Bitcoin's above there, it looks good. And if you're new here and listening to me cough every 5 seconds, you're probably like, man, what the hell's wrong with this guy? Is he okay? Is he dying? That's the alpha I'm not going to give. All right. The basis starting to move up towards this monthly. So we'll talk about this more on Friday, but we want to see the basis above that prior monthly breakout zone. I'm probably going to have to cut the stream short today, but I thought maybe I could get through it, but I'm really struggling here, as you can tell. I feel fine. It's just, not polite to be coughing in everyone's ears all at the same time. And I've got like 40 of you in here right now. No, I apologize. But anyway, let's go ahead and evaluate a few lower term time frame things here as well. So if we go to something like the 12-hour, we can see that the 12-hour is basically, finished with its expansion phase. It's beginning its compression phase. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to squeeze down in terms of its compression phase like it did at the weeklies here, which this is how we got that beautiful move. For those of you that were paying attention when I called out the 12-hour setup, I hope you got into a good position because the trade was pretty easy. It came back to retest the lower second standard deviation of the Bollinger Bands right at the weekly support. It held it, and it held the wick lows on a close for the 12-hour. That was the criteria then to start looking the other way in this compression. It came up to the basis, retested the lower first, and then rocket ship on the next 12-hour candle. Now, when you're evaluating that kind of a setup on lower term time frames, you take the top side upper second standard deviation on the 12-hour as the bias breaker. So if you're looking at a 4-hour and you start seeing the 4-hour close above the 12-hour upper second standard deviation, which at the time was at 52,500 to 600, that we can actually mark the candle that started to rise, right? Now, historically, we can look back easily, but at the time, what you want to do is just be aware of where that upper second was on the 12-hour, because any kind of 4-hour closures above there are going to start to make, close over close, are going to be more likely that the 12-hour is going to close above there. Of course, we also had a range there, so you got a range basically of like $52,500 to $53,000, which was the 2021 weekly swing high resistance. And once you start seeing 4-hour candles close above there, it's boom up, because that 12-hour is going to go from compression to volatility expansion, BBWP and the Bollinger Bands. By the way, volatility still remains high within the context of the Bollinger Bands at 86 over 85. I believe that it started to cool down a little bit, and then, and it's lining back up for another run. This is what I mean about bullish resets on volatility, and that's because, we got the expansion above the upper second, nice consolidation at the monthlies once it broke the monthly all-time high closing on a closing basis, and then it keeps moving up towards the upper second. More likely, my personal opinion is probably going to, probably play in the strong half and do a sideways consolidation or sideways and up consolidation if it's very bullish. Get a cool down and then re-expansion. The next re-expansion is really going to be the big one to watch for. So I will be talking about that when we start to see it. But until then, just remember that Bitcoin can march just like it did back in February. It can keep marching and pushing that upper second standard deviation or grinding up against it and then just coming back down on the wicks and even some closes and starting to get liquidity at levels of interest. So the reason why I bring this up is because when looking at the 4-hour, this 4-hour candle kicked it off. This was, well, I mean, I was on the other side. I was trading off the lower bands on the 12-hour for I was trading the retests myself personally. But in this case, if you were waiting for confirmation, easy confirmation was expansion on the 4-hour at the time that also, checked the box for closing above the 12-hour upper second, which was going to lead to expansion no matter what. Right at a prior area of resistance, we're looking at expansion into it. As soon as it gets above, it's over. And that's exactly what we saw. Right into the monthly zone. Hold that support. Looks beautiful. Let's go look at the current 4-hour, though, because the main reason that I'm pointing this out is because we saw another compression on the 4-hour. We didn't have a 12-hour to reference in terms of compression because it was still in an expansive phase. It's only just now starting, and it's even looking like it's going to continue its sideways and up expansion with the BWP already arching back up towards the high volatility mark. In this case, the 4-hour was beautiful. We got above, we played around with the resistances at the monthly close all-time high zone. So that was, the March of 21 and October of 21 closes, which were the prior all-time high and then all-time high close on the monthly. Bitcoin stalled in and around there just ever so slightly for, 8 hours. Tested it, got above it, and then dojied right back down below it, traded inside of it, found it as support. Now we saw the cool down. So this was a 4-hour expansion that we were just talking about that was also going to lead to the 12-hour expansion up. We saw the nice cool down and then compression right into support, holds the lower first in this case, regains the basis. And then, if you were looking for all-time highs and you were not in any sort of position at minimum on this 4-hour expansion right here on the third, you were looking to the local highs at minimum around 64,100 to the all-time high zone. I did call this out on X or Twitter if you like. And beautiful expansion. This expansion and this many green candles in a row was likely going to lead to what we saw. And that's a liquidity grab. This was pretty cool to watch, actually. There's just green candle after green candle because it's kind of rare that you see them all in a row. And not have some sort of, either a bearish close or a nasty squishy doji. Had one doji here, and then it was off to the races, man. Beautiful. Front run the all-time high, of course. You got your Capos and your Gareths and all them, and then, of course, they get taken out of position a few closes later on the 4-hour. I'm going to call that one the Prophet Blue Wick. So then price hung out in the all-time high zone, wicked right back down. And where'd that 4-hour close? It wicked right into liquidity, and 4-hour closes came above that monthly. I was telling you this was going to be pretty strong, especially if it regained the lower first, and then a trip right back to test the upper first where it's finding resistance. Now, this is a downtrend still. Yes, it's technically, we technically didn't get a low put in, but swing from a swing basis, swing high, swing low, swing high, swing low. So you have a downtrending structure. It could be argued on a closing basis, but this is your lower high right here. You will get some argument from some people on that, but you got your higher high, lower low. And, you know, it's still in a downtrending position, but be very aware that if it regains this upper first, it's gunning for this high up here and the swing high. So upper first on closes, you can see the upper second is above the swing high and the prior all-time high now from November of 2021. So if we do start seeing the 4-hour close above here, right now it's currently at 67,400. I call it 67.5 to account for the wicks here. Actually, because I'm on log scale, it's 67,650. So above there, I would be looking right back to the closing structure at the all-time highs, and then, you know, possibly a move for that upper second standard deviation at around now 69,500. Nice. All right, so some of you might get that 69,420 that you were looking for, huh? Above there, you know, we've got 71,500. If we start seeing Bitcoin close 4-hour candles above the upper first, you're probably going to see that upper third move into the $72,000 region. So be aware if it's like a spike above the highs that just wicks right into it. So that's your 72 call. I believe that you know, Torque has got some fun measurements for that. And he's been looking for 72. I know that. And I'm more general. I'm going to evaluate price above the all-time highs and see if that is going to line up, because there is confluences there. So I'm looking, you know, somewhere around 70 to 75. Just be aware if it starts closing any candles above 75, it's probably going to be a quick trip to 80. Probably. Don't take my word for that, but probably. Now, from the 4-hour perspective, if Bitcoin does start to lose the basis and the $65,000 level, watch wherever the lower first is. Currently, it's lined up with this order block candle right here on the 4-hour coming in at 63,300. Below there, you can see the lower second standard deviation is the support right at the lows. On the close, there at 61,350 or so. Below there, you see the lower third is arching up above. No, it's at, but likely to be above very shortly here, as we do have a 4-hour close coming in. That is at 59,224. Now the 4-hour Stoke is pointed up, so be aware momentum is pointed to the upside, close over close. I mean, you can see it on the chart, but it is good to see it on the Stoke here. $63,000 is going to be the pivot. That will change. It's going to rise in about 43 minutes. So volatility remains high. Bitcoin starts closing above the upper first standard deviation, it's going to get above the moving average. So just understand that volatility could very well then run those highs. Now, if it does start to continue, I should say, remaining below the upper first and start trading back towards the basis, or the basis rises to price and it just goes sideways, you will see a little bit of a cool down. And then you're looking for upper first, upper second, or lower first, upper first, lower first to get a bias for whether or not it's going to test the support and resistance zones. So resistance to the upside, supports to the downside, where the upper and lower second standard deviations are. Weaving volatility, the price volatility levels of the Bollinger Bands in with your horizontal support and resistance and your trending structure is going to be your best friend. I'm going to tell you that it's going to be your absolute best friend in Blue Sky Breakout, because you're not going to have higher term time frame references. So it's going to be all lower term time frame references. We're probably going to start moving to the 4 and 6 hour and seeing where things are, and then looking to 12 hours, seeing where any kind of sideways consolidation hung out, and kind of go from there as structure begins to build, wherever we start to see highs put in, and then we can start looking for areas of interest for lows. They will happen. It's been, you know, kind of straight up and consolidate straight up and then consolidate again, but you know, that's probably going to continue as well. But looks good, looks beautiful right now. That 4-hour is telling me that if it can get above the upper first, it's likely to go for the all-time high again, and maybe higher. All right, that is the bulk of the analysis. We've got one more piece that we're going to review here, and that is taking a look at some of the fib targets. So we can take the consolidation. You know, if you want to do this, you're probably not going to have enough on the fib to do anything. Yeah, I don't. But the smaller consolidation in the lower term timeframes was pretty beautiful off of that consolidation, by the way, for the daily. But if we go to weekly structure, 5-day structure, it doesn't really matter. You know, you've got this particular structure that Bitcoin is now testing that 2414. So need more fibs, man. We talked about this one, wick to wick, so swing to swing on the weekly. Bitcoin, you know, had closed above the 2 spot. We were looking 272, 66.9, so basically 67 to the all-time high there at 69, 256, and the all-time high came in at 69, 324. So if you're part of the fibs don't work crew, well, joke's on you. They do. And if we want to take swing to swing, because we don't have any kind of a swing top here, we can use the last swing high to swing low and start getting a bias for the next big area to the upside. And, oh, hey, the 618 is at 74,700. The 74,700 area, very important. Above there is the 1786 coming in at around that 83,732. So again, all the confluences right now currently lining up with Bitcoin breaks the all-time high, 70 to 75. Very likely we come back and take a look and see where things fall. If it does start to trade above 75, probably going to hit around the 80 region pretty quickly and then come back to it from there. Looks great. Now, from the weekly standpoint, now that we have seen the all-time high, if you want to look for pullback areas of interest from the wider structure, things are bullish AF above the 618 in basis on the weekly. So you're looking at 44,300 to 46, 883. The further this gets pushed up, you know, that's going to be 47, which is a monthly level, and so on and so forth. So if you want to take a little bit more intermediate term for pullbacks, areas of interest, take just the current swing high to the previous swing low. And we can see that the 55K level, very, very important. That's the 618. And the 50% that my pointer is on right now is going to be the one that you want to pay attention to. You can see how price close opened right on it. There's an order block right on it. And it's right below the upper first standard deviation on the weekly, coming in at 51,600. So beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Anywhere above, 55K, it's up and to the right, especially above this 786. You can see that's lining up perfectly with the upper second standard deviation. This gives us a little bit tighter target from, just the ongoing move from wick to wick. You're getting around that $81,000 level. It's not worth looking at extensions on this. This is more for pullbacks because we don't have a high to reference, not even on a swing basis, because of, the current weekly candle is still up. So when that does occur, then we can start measuring this move for extensions. But until then, we're going to use the prior move as a reference and then come back to it. This is more for retrace areas of interest. Basically bullish anywhere above $50,000, but it's pretty much what it is. I do enjoy the close open right on the 382. That's pretty cool as well. When measuring this particular wick to wick or swing to swing, we'll see how this closes on the weekly. Come back to it next Monday. So beautiful, beautiful, beautiful stuff. I will open it up to some questions. I seem to be recovering my voice a little bit. And let me go ahead and turn the tunes on. Pretty much wrapped with the large portion of technical analysis. Again, I apologize for the coughing fit. I'm under the weather. I'm getting better, and it's like right when you're feeling better is like every 5 seconds, like, oh yeah, I'm feeling great, and then my bad. So anyway, I'm gonna turn on the tunes, peruse the chats a little bit here. I'll try to see if I can get to some of you in the other chats, not in the YouTube chat, as well. I'll have to click around. So let me get the tunes up and running again, just so we've got some background music covering. Let's go ahead and we're gonna do some synthwave cyberpunk in the background here. All right, that should be about good. All right, let's look in the chats. You mematics always win? Yeah, sometimes. They do tend to win as observed in traditional markets a lot too. But usually it's always 69 and 420. It's pretty. And for those of you that don't trade traditional markets are way more degenerate than crypto markets. So don't let them tell you anything different. Just go and talk to any penny stock trader. They're absolute animals. Let's go ahead and jump into my stream here. I see there's quite a few people in the X chat. I'm sorry guys that I can't see your chat in the X chat till I enter the stream. Right. Oh, it won't show me any historical chat either. Yeah, the API plugin for X chat is not great right now. I hope they're working on it. They say they're working on it. And then we've got quite a few in Twitch as well. If you do want to chat with us, the main chat that I can see through my streaming interface that's not buggy is the YouTube chat. You can find that the YouTube link in my profile page. And yes, so if you are looking for this is a free indicator. Yeah, so this is we're over on Twitch. Yeah, this is a free indicator. You can find that in my it's in the link in the video description of all my videos across all major platforms that allow for descriptions. If you're on X, it's in my profile as well. It's linked there. It's a beta indicator. It's private, but it's publicly shared. So you do need to click it, follow the link, and then you can add it to your trading view. But it's free. It's going to be wrapping up development pretty shortly here. It's full of other features as well if you're interested. It's got moving averages you can turn on and off. So it's got Bollinger Bands. You can set the Bollinger Bands as well. You can change them all. We might as well throw some moving averages on here. Yeah, trending above the 9 EMA. 21's coming in at 57,900. It's also got, it comes with volatility metrics. So we see that it's cooking 99 over 99. Well, 99 under 99 on the daily here. There's also, I got to reorganize the panel, but there's also PBWP length settings, look back settings. There's a super trend ATR. If you go over in the style tab, you can turn on all kinds of different fun indicator settings here. Like closing above the upper second, upper third area, and then closing below the lowers. You've got a super trend here, the basis, and yeah, you could make a total mess of your chart if you want, but everything's going to be moved over into the input side of things. It's just a pain in the butt. So we've got ATR there. I think I accidentally unclicked it, but yeah, there's all kinds of fun stuff in there. It's evolving. It's still in development, so I just haven't had the time to put into it lately. And a super trend, if you're into super trend, it's at 57,500. So all the confluent areas that we were talking about, basically, it's a little bit lower than where I would want to see price go, but you can adjust the length of the super trend if you like. So you can mess around with the ATR length and the factor and stuff if you understand how to do that. And then there's signal stuff. There's EMA break aboves, break belows. You just got to read the description there so that you can make sense of the methodology for that. So this is if the 200, if the 20, the 9 and 21, if the 9 is above the 21, and then they cross over the 200, you get EMA breaks above, breaks below. You get trend indicator, Bollinger Band indicator in there, but this is telling you this is a strong uptrend. Even when it dipped down, we're here at 38.5 on the daily, did not turn red, so everything stayed above the 200s. It's well above the 200s. We had the EMA trend breaks over here. This was when we knew it was done. We knew that bull market was on right back here. It was technically the double bottom. We were all talking about like, yeah, you know, it's right into support over here. Double bottom, downtrend, trend shift. You know, after testing this low, didn't close below it, it was going to be up. That was our criteria. Don't close below that 24,700. And it came in at 24.9 on the wick. That was our liquid zone. Boom, reverse trend, start uptrend, and continue that uptrend. So looks beautiful. See the weekly, the bottom EMA that was the 200 EMA break, 200 EMA break over here. Never broke down from it. Beautiful stuff, beautiful stuff. So if you want to see how the EMAs interact with that, you just turn on the 921 and the 200s. Yeah, these are good questions. Oh, you are using it. Okay. Hey, why don't you come over and hang out with us in either YouTube or on X, because Twitch is just awful when it comes to some of this stuff for somebody with a small following. So, oh yeah, there's the 369. Got the meme EMA. Yeah. Discord, yes. Oh, funny you ask. I am nearly completed. I have nearly completed setting up a public Discord. It'll be free, just like everything else. All the alpha's free. Don't charge for anything. No need to. Get rich, enjoy it, teach others. Can you find the indicator in the? No, that's why it's so the indicator's in. It's privately shared, meaning you have to have the link to it. So if you wanted a friend to also try the indicator, you just send them the link. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, no, you don't need to do anything special. They'll get access right away. There's no like whitelist or anything like that. Yep. So the 200s bracketing this consolidation here, isn't that beautiful? We've got the 200 simple above the 31.8. It's at 31.9 now. It's very good. EMA swooping in under it. When EMA gets above the SMA here, it's not even, man. I'm so conflicted because I feel like there's a way bigger run than many are expecting, and even I am going to initially project. But one of the big things you got to understand is I am more conservative, and I will update targets as they come. As they come on the board, you take it level by level, move by move. Take it trend, support and resistance, volatility. They all create momentum. So just keep track of each one of those things, and you're all good. Those are your 4 keys to trading. Anything. But yeah, it looks beautiful. How long have I been in the markets? Markets in general, a very long time. I'm much older than I sound, yes. Yes, I am much older than I sound. At least I sound young. I wish I looked young still. I've been in markets in general, traditional markets, for a very, very long time. We're talking the early 2000s. Crypto markets, man, I screwed up because I was early. I was very early. Back in 2011, 2012, I was mining Bitcoin, and I took profits, and then I did other things with my life and wasn't paying attention until the 14 into 16 drawdown bear market. Yeah, I've been around a while. You sound familiar. Oh, yes, I do, don't I? You've probably heard me in before. Yes. Have I assumed a new identity? Yes, I have. No worries. No, it wasn't because it wasn't because of anything other than my accounts getting banned for takes that Twitter didn't like at the time. Had nothing to do with the trading stuff. But I talked politics and trading, and I got banned for the politics. I don't share my political views here, no. But yeah, you are correct, sir. All right, well, I think that's gonna wrap it. You guys have a wonderful morning, afternoon, and evening, no matter where you are in the world. Please trade safe, and of course, as always, stay safe. With all of that being said, Landy will get back at you in a recorded fashion if we start breaking the all-time high, going for blue skies tomorrow in a staring at charts video. And otherwise, I will talk to you all on Friday. So come hang out with us on Friday's live stream. Appreciate you all. Take care of yourselves. And I will talk at you again soon. Landy out.
Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
CBR 3 gang.